Phuket. I got in very late last night, and so the first thing we're doing today is going to get coffee. I found a lovely little spot near my hostel called Rest Day, which I have to say has one of the most beautiful views and windows I've ever seen in a coffee shop. Plus, I tried an iced coffee Thai style for the first time and it was absolutely amazing. I don't know how it differs from normal coffee, but I really enjoyed it as well as the aesthetic of this lovely place. I then stumbled across a dog cafe, which was a little bit more on the expensive side, but oh my goodness, these dogs just looked so lovely, and I have been a bit deprived of petting dogs after a dog in Vietnam nearly bit my hand off, so I paid the fee, which did include a strawberry smoothie, and made friends with a variety of different dogs. I spent quite a few hours here, I'm not gonna lie, and I think I made friends with this cute little pug called Snowy, who is the dog love of my life. Such a sweetheart because he was the only one who would always come and just sit next to me and was my #1 dog. It was also really nice to see some purebred dogs, as a lot of the dogs in Asia are mixed and it's sometimes easy to forget what different breeds actually look like. One thing I also found out here that I didn't previously know is that dogs love dragon fruit, and when we brought out the stuff they went crazy. I've never felt more loved in my life by a dog than I did when I had dragon fruit in my hands. Once I had received a sufficient amount of pats, I headed into the old town centre where I stopped at Dou Brew cafe and got the signature hot chocolate, or iced chocolate rather, and a rose tea and cranberry chocolate. Lewis Road Creamery, but it is milk chocolate, like a drink thing like that, which is surprising. I didn't know I'd find it outside of that because that's very particular. I then wandered through the old town centre, finding many a person taking Instagram photos, before arriving at my main destination of the day, which was the famous Phuketique's burnt butter ice cream toast. I got the classic Hokkaido milk ice cream toast, and I loved how you could see them making it. Even though it seems simple, it was absolutely phenomenal, and I would love to try recreate it at home, although I don't think I would be able to make it anywhere near as well. From here I decided I still needed another coffee, and I went to Craftist, which seemed to be a really popular working space for digital nomads. It had a wonderful minimalist interior, which I personally really liked, and there was even a garden out the back that you could sit in, which I thought was really cool. The coffee was fantastic and I enjoyed it while I doodled in my diary for a bit. I then got an early dinner on my way back of Noodles at 1001 Noodle restaurant, which was probably one of the cheapest meals I ate in Phuket for I think around 75 or 80 baht. It was delicious, even though I will admit the street food one was better, but they did have a mix and match option here where you could kind of build your own bowl, which I thought was really cool. The next morning, I had booked a day trip out from Phuket to go visit James Bond and a few of the other islands on a big boat, which I was very excited for. We got picked up and driven out to Alpo Pier, where we actually waited for quite a while before departing. This gave me time to walk around the quiet school village and enjoy the classic Thai beach ambience for the first time, as so far I had only been inland and not by a beach in Thailand. We eventually got out on the boat and journeyed first towards James Bond Island. It was a beautiful, classic, sunny Thailand day, and I met some lovely people as we headed across the waters. We passed through Pha Nang Bay where there were incredible limestone formations and stalagmites everywhere, which I've never seen the likes of before. Soon enough we landed at James Bond Island, which was incredibly popular. However, this was such an incredible landscape. Composing shots in this location with the rock in the background is actually just amazing. If it hadn't been a filming location for Man with the Golden Gun, I would assume it would have become one in future because it is just so cool. I have to be honest though and say that I do wonder if filming locations are just visited because people actually care about the films or if it's just because it's a tourist thing to do. I have a feeling it's probably the latter, which being a film buff is a little upsetting, but having the opportunity to visit a filming location like this in such a remote place was pretty special. We then went round to another area which I can't actually remember what it was called, but we hopped in a canoe and were paddled around by our lovely guide who, despite the high tide, was kind enough to squeeze us through a tiny little gap in the rocks to probably one of the most magical experiences I've ever had in my life. Basically we had to lie down and we ended up in this little pond where everything just went silent. I think it was easily one of the most special experiences I had on my whole trip, and I really have to thank our lovely guide for that, as none of the other guides took their crew in there. When we emerged back out, we were paddled around a few other areas before jumping in for a swim. This was absolutely lovely. I love being in the water in such a remote place. The crew honestly struggled to get me out. I was probably about the last person back on the boat. We then went to another set of islands before visiting another cave. It was incredible to get to go to such a remote place that feels untouched even though people must be there quite consistently due to the tours.
It just feels so like it's a weird.
Touch me, sis. And then they say, okay, yeah, sure, me sure.
But he's alive.
Yes.
It was then time to head back as we had already spent about 7 hours out and about, so by the time I got back to my hostel I was pretty tired, so I just brought a couple of eggs, a Kit Kat ice cream and a strawberry shortcake from the 7-Eleven and a place near my hostel, and then I went to bed because it was a big day and I was tired. The next morning, I got up to do a Muay Thai class first thing. I trained in Chiang Mai for a month and loved it there, so I thought I would check it out as it was literally right next to my hostel. And the class was alright, but a good start to my day, along with the bagel and coffee I got at Play Cafe. This place was very quiet, but popular with people coming from the nearby bus stop, and it had a lovely wooden interior that I really liked. A good, classic, simple meal before I headed back to Craftist, as they had a special coffee called the Volcano that I really wanted to try, along with a vegan dessert called a banana masu, which was made of things like dates and nuts. I'm not vegan, but I do really like trying their sweets sometimes as they are a bit healthier. I really enjoyed both of these, and I read my book there for quite a while, enjoying the vibe. My sweet tooth definitely had a hold of me in Phuket, so I went back to Dou Brew and got a cheesecake, which was amazing as I haven't had one for such a long time. In summary, even though Phuket is a tourist hotspot, it's absolutely a place you should go to. There are so many amazing things to do around the Phuket area itself, as well as many other beaches and places to explore and stay that I didn't even get to. I hope you'll subscribe to join me in the Phi Phi Islands and Kuala Lumpur in the next few weeks, and thank you so much for watching. Doodles!